Good morning, friends. As part of our study of the current affairs with respect to the questions that may come in our civil services exam mains paper, today in Hindu newspaper we have covered two articles, and the first one is Indians vulnerable to climate change induced health issues. Today it came in our Hindu newspaper in editorial page, opinion page. So Indians vulnerable to climate change induced health issues. So let us see what are the intricacies involved in this. Okay. Now, when you look at this, the article says that India confronts a pervasive health vulnerability. A pervasive health vulnerability stemming from climate change. So as the climate is changing, we are facing vulnerability with respect to health issues, okay, impacting more than half of its population in in about 344 districts. See, we have about 640 districts across our country. When a study was conducted in about 344 districts, the population was vulnerable to health issues. The population was vulnerable to health issues. The complex interplay between exposure, sensitivity, and adaptive capacities. When you see these three issues, the vulnerability is shaped, and making it essential to localize strategies for effective mitigation and adaptation. So whatever strategies you are going to adopt to counter this vulnerability to health issues, that needs to be localized. Because problems from one place to the other place, they are different, and you are supposed to make strategies which will be mitigating the health vulnerabilities. Okay, in about 640 districts, a study was conducted recently, and it shows us the disparities at the district level, emphasizing for the need for tailored responses. Tailored responses means each district in its own place, it requires a specific strategy to counter the problem of health issues. Now, so the vulnerability was mapped here. The map and tables were sourced from article Climate Change, Human Health, Estimating District Level Health Vulnerabilities in the Indian Context, published in Climate Change. So this is the same map which is given in the newspaper. Here the map shows that vulnerability. The map shows the vulnerability index values for 640 districts. And this is according to 2011 census, there are 640. Okay, and it is measured on a scale of 0 is the least vulnerability and 1 is the higher, so 0 to 1. Okay, so you can see that here it is there. In some of the districts where this light blue color is there, it is 0 to 0.249. Where this blue color is there, it is 0.25 to 0.49, and where this dark blue color is there, here it is 0.5 to 0.749, and very dark color it is there. For example, in the districts like this, here it is 0.75 to 1. So the scale was 0 to 1. Okay. So you can see that in this table 2, it shows top 5 and bottom 5 districts in terms of health vulnerability with respect to climate change. So high vulnerability is there in Arunachal state. It is Dibang Valley district, vulnerability index is 1. Okay, and in UP it is Pilibhit, where it is 0.97. In Madhya Pradesh it is the Indori district, it is 0.97. Uttar Pradesh it is Bagpat, it is 0.938. And in Uttar Pradesh, in Firozabad district, it is 0.932, etc. So these are the highest vulnerability districts. And when you look at the lowest vulnerability districts across the states, in Sikkim, it is 0.134, it is South district. And in same Sikkim state, it is East district, it is 0.101. And in Goa, South Goa, it is 0.054. Maharashtra, it is Sindhudurg, it is 0.013. And in Goa, that is North Goa, it is 0. So vulnerability index is very low there. Now, 344 districts with very high and high vulnerability house 56% of India's population. Okay, almost 56% of India's population is vulnerable to health issues because of this climate change. You know, this article was written by Indranil and Divya Chaudhary. So the Indranil is a professor at School of Government and Public Policy, O.P. Jindal Global University. And Divya Chaudhary, she is a doctorate candidate at the School of Government and Public Policy, same Jindal Global University. Okay. Now, so when you make an assessment of the vulnerability at the district level, what is the framework taken? Let us see. Now you can see that it is the vulnerability assessment framework. It was taken from the 4th assessment report. It was report of the Intergovernmental Panel for the Climate Change. Okay, it is taken from the 4th assessment report, wherein the exposure, sensitivity and adaptive capacities towards this climate change, they are measured by 50 indicators. 50 indicators. These 50 indicators are some for the exposure, some for the sensitivity and some for the adaptive capacities. And this was taken from 8 national data resources. 8 national data resources. Okay. Now, when we study these district exposure levels, about 298 districts, they had high or very high exposure levels. They had high or very high exposure levels, and about 52% of India's population was exposed at a very high level or high level exposure to this climate change. So exposure factors include like prolonged summers, unpredictable rains, floods, sea level rise, etc. These are the exposure factors. And when you look at the sensitivity and adaptive capacities, approximately 30% of the population in 184 districts, they had very high sensitivity towards this climate change. And about fifth of India's population, that is in 153 districts, they exhibited moderate or low adaptive capacities. Okay. So now why this vulnerability is caused? Okay, why this vulnerability towards the climate change is caused? Let us see. What causes this vulnerability? When the healthcare infrastructure is poorly developed, primary healthcare poorly developed, okay, healthcare infrastructure is poorly developed, then it contributes to high level of vulnerability towards the climate change. It affects the population, particularly in districts reporting elevated infant mortality rates. Infant means, children, okay. So at the child level only, people are dying. Population is dying. Okay, so children. So what can we do? Robust primary healthcare systems can address preventable causes of mortality and morbidity. Okay, so when you increase the healthcare system at the primary health level, when you increase the infrastructure capacities, infrastructure facilities at the primary healthcare system, then you can attend this problem. You can address this problem. Now then, social determinants of health. What are the factors that determine the health? Addressing inequalities. See, lot many inequalities are there in our society. In the distribution of social determinants such as livelihood opportunities. Livelihood opportunities are not equally given to the whole of the population. Working conditions are also different, and social safety nets are also not equal. So if you provide them equally, then what happens? They reduce the sensitivity and enhance the adaptive capacities of the population towards the climate change. Okay, so health vulnerability will be addressed. And then data system challenges. You can see that even our data which is available as on day, it is not sufficient or adequate. So a robust dynamic data system is imperative. It is a must for informed policy making. Usually whenever you make the policies, you will be depending upon the data. So that data must be good. That must be currently whatever data is available, that should be dynamic, means the factors will be changing ever. So based on the factors you have to make the data dynamic. Okay, the current health system data architecture is weak. At present it is very weak. The data architecture is very weak. It is limited because of limited collaboration, trust and compliance from the private sector. So private sector is not in a position to collaborate with the government infrastructure. Okay, so because of lack of trust, etc., they are not doing what is required. So as such, the current health system data architecture is very weak. So it has to be updated. Now, what are the policy recommendations that are supposed to be done for the sake of improving the health? See, health expenditure. So public expenditure should be increased. On what? On health. It can significantly reduce out-of-pocket expenditure for the population. So when you have to spend from your pocket, naturally when your pocket does not permit, then you will silently suffer. So the public will suffer because of that climate change. So when the government starts expending more on the health, public health, then automatically that will enhance the resilience of the population towards this climate change. Primary health care, it must be strengthened. Strengthening the primary health care. Already we have seen that because of the lack of facilities at the primary health care level, the vulnerability is increasing. So when you increase the primary health care system, then automatically when you strengthen it, automatically it will address both communicable and non-communicable diseases which is caused because of the climate changes, and it reduces the burden on high cost tertiary care. So you know, primary care is at the lower level, tertiary care is at the advanced level. So when you take care of the diseases at the primary level itself, then automatically that will not cause the burden for the patient also and for the government also at the tertiary level. Tertiary level means when the disease is increased manifolds. When it is not taken care of at the initial stages, when it is not addressed by the primary health care, automatically the disease increases. So as the disease increases, then the tertiary care is necessary. So that burdens the tertiary health care. So when you strengthen the primary health care system, automatically the tertiary case, high cost tertiary care burden can be reduced. Okay. Now, so inequalities, whatever inequalities are there in the society, they have to be reduced. That is one more way you can address the health problems. So addressing social determinants of health, including sustainable livelihoods, improving working conditions and education, and that can mitigate the vulnerability. So whatever inequalities are there in the population, different sections of the population, if you are reducing those inequalities, if you are able to provide sustainable livelihoods to all the population, and also working conditions and education are improved for all the sections of the population, then automatically this vulnerability will be mitigated towards the climate change. Okay, and then data system has to be improved. Already we have discussed that the data system is not sufficient, it is not compatible for the policy making. So a comprehensive overhaul of the data system. Okay, whatever data we are collecting regarding the diseases or whatever it is. Okay, it fostering collaboration, trust and compliance. These three are not there between private sector and government, public sector, we have discussed earlier. So when you try to increase this collaboration, trust and compliance, then automatically the policy making will be evidence based. Okay, so when it is evidence based, automatically the policies whichever you are making, they will be suitable to mitigate the diseases or vulnerability. It helps in mitigating the vulnerability. Okay, now let us try to conclude the topic. As climate change intensifies, health vulnerability. So as climate change is there, then automatically health vulnerability will be intensified. A paradigm shift is imperative. It is necessary. We have to change, because the earlier conditions, policy making was not for the changing climate, right? So as per the climate, as the climate changes, automatically your policies are also supposed to be improved. Okay, improvised. So it is necessary. The engagement of local self-governance, local bodies, is pivotal. Pivotal means important in aligning climate and health agendas. Okay, local bodies help you are supposed to take. Moreover, accountability in the health system and re-evaluation of the developmental paradigm are essential for building resilience and ensuring the well-being of the vulnerable population. Okay, so it is very much important that you must make the health system at the primary level, to be accountable, okay, and then re-evaluation of the developmental paradigm. So whatever developmental activities that you are taking with respect to damaging the climate, they are supposed to be re-evaluated, okay, so that and then only the local population can build resilience towards this vulnerability or climate change, and then only the well-being of the vulnerable populations can be taken care of. The study's insights serve as a clarion call. Clarion call means important, urgent call, okay, for concerted efforts. You are supposed to make efforts which are in concert, okay, in crafting adaptive and equitable policies to navigate the evolving climate health landscape. Landscape means picture, okay, so climate health picture, okay, so whatever changes are happening in the climate, then health is deteriorating. So to improvise that, then you are supposed to make concerted efforts, okay. Now let us see what kind of question can appear in the mains exam with respect to this, okay. Now discuss the key findings and policy recommendations arising from the district level vulnerability assessment of climate change. Whatever assessment has been made at the district level with respect to the effects of the climate change, that is induced health issues in India, okay. In why he is calling induced? Because it is induced by climate change, okay. So whatever health issues are induced because of the climate change, when you are studying them at the district level, then the localized strategies can be developed, okay. How can a robust data system, strengthened primary health care and targeted policy interventions contribute to mitigating vulnerability and fostering resilience in the face of climate related health changes? So it is a 10 marker, 150 questions, 150 words, okay. So it appears in GS3 environment and health and environment, okay. It can also come under paper 2 also under governance, okay. Now let us go for the second question. Let us go for the second question of the day. The second question of the day, okay. The second topic which we have selected from the Hindu paper is, it is regarding how Islam got entangled in the web of global warfare. In the web of global warfare. It also appeared today in the Hindu newspaper. It is there in the text. So you can see that this is the bibliography. So this is regarding Iran. So Iranian school girls attend a demonstration in front of the former US Embassy in Tehran commemorating the 30th anniversary of the US Assembly by students in 2009. Okay. So how Islam got entangled in the web of global warfare. Islam is a religion. Okay. So regarding this there is an article. So you know here that Saudi Arabia promoted rigid Wahhabi Islam in the late 1970s. It marginalized other tolerant sects in the religion with other religions, and it led to the radicalization. The sectarian fault lines of the world, Muslim world, are constantly churning the politics of West Asia. So we have to see Islam after the effect of this Iran revolution, etc. Let us see how it is discussed. Okay, let us see how it is discussed. So same thing, how Islam got tangled in the web of global warfare. Okay, so this is the second topic of the day. So now you can see that the intertwining of Islam with the global geopolitics. Okay, religion and geopolitics, right, intertwined. Particularly in West Asia, you know, most of the Islamic countries are in the West Asia. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, etc. All those countries are there in the West Asia. It has been a complex journey marked by significant events. Many events have happened which have marked the history. Okay, one pivotal moment, one of the important moment was the Islamic Revolution in Iran in 1979. Okay, in 1979, which reverberated across the Muslim world. This article explores the repercussions of that revolution. So whatever after effects were there after that revolution, they are discussed in this topic. Okay, focusing on the ideological shifts. So ideological shifts means whatever thought processes were there in Islam, there were many shifts in that. So we will be focusing on them and their consequences on the geopolitics and the resulting fissures. Fissures means divisions within the Islamic community. We will be discussing here in this article, right? So this is discussed in a book written by Iqbal S. Hasnain, how events of 1979 shaped the Islamic world. So fault lines in the faith. Okay, you can see the fissure also, division. Now, first we will be discussing a few points in Iranian resolution of 1979. Okay, so it is the catalyst for change. So this Iranian revolution has acted as the catalyst for change in the Islamic world. The removal of the Iranian monarchy. So before 1979 there was a king for Iran by name Shah. Okay, so he was removed with a people's movement inspired by Shiite Islam. So you know that in Iran it is dominated by Shia sect of the Muslims. Okay, so Shiite Islam. Now with that there was an impact on the world, global impact of the Iran. Extended repercussions, after effects influencing major wars. Many wars have happened between Iran, Iraq, all those things. And then US presidential elections, and also shaping subsequent decades, coming decades. So it happened in 79. So 80 to 90, 90 to 2000, 2000 to 2010, 2010 to 20, and then also now. So these after effects are felt even today. Okay, because of the revolution in the country Iran. Okay, so now we can have a few insights on this from thought leaders, means those who have studied Iranian revolution. So he says that one, Dilip Hero, in his perspective, he highlights the profound influence of the 1979 Iranian revolution on the region's history and impact on global politics. And then Hamid Ansari also wrote, he acknowledged the revolution as a testament to the power of masses against the established regimes. Means monarchy was there, king was there, so they removed with the help of the masses. Okay, and it's worldwide inspiration for Islamic movements. Not only that, it has inspired the movements, Islamic movements worldwide. Which one? Iranian revolution. Okay, now so Syed Hasnain in this book, Fault Lines in the Faith, just now we have seen the cover of the book. He says that 1979 is the defining year. 1979 is the defining year because of the Iranian revolution. This is a turning point, marking significant events leading to changes in the Middle East and also the Muslim world. These are the different opinions held by scholars who have studied this Iranian revolution. For this Iranian revolution, the Saudi Arabia had a response because Saudi Arabia is dominated by Sunni Muslims. Okay, so they formed loyalty to the Wahhabi Salafism. So these are different sects in Islam. Okay, Wahhabi, it is a sect, right? Triggering ideological fault lines and promoting fundamentalism. So Wahhabi is more fundamental. In Islam, Wahhabi sect is more fundamental. Okay, fundamental means less logical, less rational. It goes more towards the faith, more importance to the faith. Then there were consequences which were unintended. Okay, what are the consequences? Afghan standard fighters, American support in Afghanistan. You know, in Afghanistan there was a government which was supported by American country. Okay, led to unintended consequences because America was involved in Afghanistan. Then there was an infighting between Islamic countries opposing that. So all this it led to unintended consequences, with young Islamic fighters becoming a potent force under the figures like Osama bin Laden. So Islamic youth, they became against America. So because America was involving in their faith. So like this, the September 11, there was an attack on America. Okay, the emergence of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and subsequent geological shifts, including the US invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq. America invaded Iraq and killed Saddam Hussein, right? And also it invaded Afghanistan. All these things have happened, and even the September 2011 attacks on America also happened because of all these consequences. These consequences were unintended, but again they have happened because of all these conflicts, religious conflicts, because of the revolutions, whatever have happened in the West Asia. Now, Islamic practices. When you study the Islamic practices, there is a shift in Islamic practices. It became more conservative. More conservative means more fundamental. Okay, opposite to liberal is more conservative. Post 1979, Iran shifted conservatively. Okay, prior in the regime of the monarch King Shah, it was more liberal, but now in 1979, after the revolution, it became more conservative. While Saudi Arabia countered by promoting Wahhabi Salafi Islam. So, you know, Iran and Saudi Arabia are always, they do not see eye to eye. They are always on the war path. Okay, they are not friendly countries, rather they are enemy countries. So this promoted Wahhabi Salafi Islam. Which one? Saudi Arabia, to counter that. Wahhabi influence, massive spending on to propagate Wahhabism globally. Worldwide it tried to increase the Wahhabism. Which one? Saudi Arabia. Constructing what? Mosques. And not only that, madrasas with stringent doctrines, laws. Okay, religious laws. Okay, so it tried to spread Wahhabi system. Which one? Saudi Arabia. Okay. Now, changes to dialogue. Lack of space for discourse. So this led to no space for discussion. No space for discussion. The dominance of Wahhabi ideology limits dialogue. The bad effects of Wahhabi ideology is that it doesn't allow any discussions. Okay, and fosters a singular interpretation of Islam. It has its own interpretation of Islam and doesn't allow anybody else to discuss on that. So no dialogue, no discussion. Whatever they say, that is right. Which one? Wahhabi sect. Okay, then Ansari's solution proposes understanding the difference between absolute iman and kafir. Okay, these are two words which are related to Islam, emphasizing the need for nuanced comprehension, understanding. Now, Western perception, how the West looks at it. Generalization challenges. The West's tendency to paint the entire Muslim world with a broad brush, overlooking local intricacies. So, what the West is doing, the fault with the West is that it is looking whole of the Islam world with a single brush. But the point is that local intricacies are there. Each country is in its own way, specific way, it has its own sect of Islam, practices of Islam. So you cannot look total Islam country as one there. Okay, ongoing misconception. Difficulties in discerning nuances in diverse Muslim majority countries. So in Muslim majority countries there are diversities also. Sunni sect is there, Shia sect is there, Wahhabi, a lot many things are there. Okay, so you are supposed to study each one separately. You cannot put them all in a same basket and have a same opinion about the whole of the Islamic world. Okay. Now geopolitical interests. Hero, what did he say? He warned. Acknowledgement of the vested interest in the success of melding political Islam with the democracy. West tried to meld Islam with democracy, considering the significant oil and gas reserves in the Muslim majority countries. In the Muslim majority countries, what are there? Lot many oil and gas reserves are there. So US is showing interest in that. That is creating some more problems. Now conclusion. Islam became entangled in the complex web of global warfare because of this oil and gas reserves, everybody tried to poke in. Now China is also putting its nose in that. The aftermath of the 1979 Iranian revolution set forth a series of geopolitical shifts and ideological shifts. After the Iranian revolution, lot many shifts, changes in their geopolitical position and ideological positions have happened. The clash between conservative and fundamentalist interpretations, okay, fueled by regional power dynamics. So locally the warlords will be there, those who want to control the area. So there will be feud. War. Feud means war. Has had profound implications for the Muslim world. So we can see that West means almost, West Asia means almost every time we get the picture of a war. Okay, so for the past 3 or 4 decades after this 1979 revolution, almost no single day has passed without a war, without a conflict, without a feud between different sections of the Islamic world. Okay, understanding these intricate developments is crucial for navigating the complexities of global geopolitics in the 21st century. So we are supposed to understand the local intricacies. Okay, whatever sects are there, whatever their preferences are there, whatever their apprehensions are there. Okay, so all those things have to be properly considered, discussed, understood. Then only we can have a clarity on this Islamic world. Okay, now let us see the question which can appear with respect to this in the mains exam. Examine the aftermath of the 1979 Iranian Revolution on global perception and geopolitical dynamics of Islam. Discuss the unintended consequences, ideological shifts and fissures within the Islamic community that emerged as a result. How has this complex interplay shaped the Muslim world's trajectory in the context of global warfare and regional power dynamics? Okay, regional power dynamics. So this is about 150 words, 10 marker. Okay, international picture it is. Okay, so this completes today's study of current affairs in Hindu newspaper. We are also studying from Indian Express also. So today both the topics are taken from Indian Hindu newspaper, and every day we are making these questions. And tomorrow again we will come up with a few more questions from the current affairs of tomorrow. Okay.